And Prof, that's a very interesting point. I mean, Eko knows him very, very well. I mean, you're almost saying that you either hate him or you love him, and if you love him dearly. You all want to die for him, and if you hate him, you hate him. What's your comment on that?
Well, when you choose a vice presidential candidate, you make that decision for a number of reasons. And in the long history of the vice presidency, from candidate to, if you win, become the vice president, there are a lot of dynamics that get involved in it. Not just from a Ghanaian perspective, but if you look at it from a democratic perspective and a global democratic perspective, you'd realize that the office of the vice presidency has evolved quite over time. If you take even the US, for instance, when President Obama was choosing his vice president, he chose Joe Biden. I mean, and we all know, I've studied this thing for quite a while, Joe Biden came in fourth in the Iowa caucuses. He was almost last. He was almost dead and gone. In fact, his political career had been decided that it was the end of it. Why would President Obama choose somebody like that? It was to complement him on several grounds. Dr. Opoku Prempeh complements the current candidate in terms of geography. He also complements him ethnically in order to bring that balance. You could also say in terms of youth to some extent, because definitely not as old as the candidate, and he has this very natural connection to a lot of young people. And a good example is our Honorable Deputy Minister, who we've just seen. So that balance and that complementarity is there. Another important reason why you choose somebody like that is because you do want your wingman on the ground, doing a lot of the operational heavy lifting job for you. That is what Vice President Joe Biden did for President Obama. If you look at Kenya, we have Rigathi Gachagua, aka Riggy G, and I've studied that terrain for quite a bit. He does the same thing from William Ruto throughout the campaign season and even when they became president and vice president. I see this dynamic, and from what the Honorable Deputy Minister is saying, as the presidential candidate deciding that I'm going to need somebody who's going to go down there and get the job done for me in any respect. You can look at it electorally, you can look at it in terms of governmentality. Electorally, you want a very agile, dynamic, forceful, fiery VP candidate. And the VP-ship is no period to come and sit down and just wax, I mean, in a lazy manner. Yes, the presidential candidate is there to be above the fray, to cross that presidential bar, to look and sound presidential. Of course, the VP candidate has to be competent, but he needs to be the president's ears and nose on the ground. He needs to be the reflexive pulse of the people. And when we get into that deeper conversation as to what the prototype of a VP candidate should be, we'll get more into that.